It is acceptance. She accepts her past without letting it define her. She accepts her flaws without allowing them to control her. She accepts her emotions without apologizing for feeling deeply. She knows that softness is not weakness, and that silence can be louder than shouting. A confident woman does not compete with other women. She understands that comparison is a prison designed to keep women small. Instead of tearing others down, she builds herself up. She celebrates another woman's success because she knows there is room for everyone. Scarcity thinking dies when self-worth is born. She has learned that confidence is not about being liked by everyone. It is about being respected by herself. She would rather be misunderstood than betray her values. She would rather walk alone than lose herself in the crowd. And this is a secret many never discover. Confident women master the art of boundaries. They do not explain them. They do not justify them. They do not feel guilty for having them. They understand that saying no is not rejection, it is self-respect. They protect their time, their energy, and their peace, because they know these are non-renewable resources. A confident woman knows when to walk away. She does not stay where she is tolerated instead of valued. She does not beg for love, attention, or effort. If someone cannot meet her with honesty, respect, and consistency, she leaves with grace, not anger, not revenge, grace. And this is powerful. She understands that confidence grows in silence. While others talk, she listens. While others rush, she observes. While others react, she reflects. She knows that emotional intelligence is more attractive than loud opinions, and that calmness is a form of control. Confident women do not rush their growth. They trust timing. They trust process. They trust themselves. They understand that becoming is more important than arriving. Every mistake becomes a lesson, not a life sentence. Every failure becomes feedback, not a definition. Another secret of confident women is discipline. They do not wait for motivation. They move even when they feel tired. They show up even when no one is watching. They work on themselves daily, quietly, consistently. Confidence is built through promises kept to oneself. She speaks with intention. She does not waste words trying to impress. She does not argue to prove her intelligence. She chooses her battles carefully. Silence for her is not weakness. It is strategy. When she speaks, her words carry weight because they come from clarity, not emotion alone. A confident woman understands her femininity as power. She does not harden herself to survive. She does not erase her softness to be respected. She knows that empathy, intuition, and emotional depth are strengths, not liabilities. She leads with both heart and mind. She has made peace with her body, not because it fits society's standards, but because it carries her through life. She does not punish it with shame. She nourishes it with respect. She dresses for herself, moves for herself, and takes up space without apology. Confidence also comes from self-awareness. A confident woman knows her triggers. She understands her wounds. She works on her healing instead of projecting her pain. She does not expect others to fix what she has not faced herself. She has cried alone. She has doubted herself. She has questioned her worth. But she did not stop there. She chose growth over comfort, healing over hiding, courage over fear. Confident women do not seek revenge. They seek peace. They understand that walking away with dignity is more powerful than winning an argument. They do not need closure from others because they give it to themselves. One of the deepest secrets of confident women is that they are not afraid to start again. They do not cling to dead versions of themselves. They evolve. They change. They allow life to reshape them without losing their core. They are not afraid of aging because they understand that confidence deepens with time. With every year, they become more grounded, more selective, and more powerful. They do not chase youth, they cultivate wisdom. A confident woman is emotionally self-sufficient. She enjoys companionship, but does not depend on it. She loves deeply, but does not lose herself in love. She understands that loneliness is better than being surrounded by people who make her feel unseen. She listens to her intuition. When something feels wrong, she pays attention. She trusts that inner voice more than external noise. That intuition becomes her compass in relationships, careers, and life decisions. Confident women take responsibility for their lives. They do not blame circumstances endlessly. They do not stay stuck in victimhood. They acknowledge pain, but they also acknowledge their power to rise above it. They invest in themselves, in their minds, in their skills, in their health, in their dreams. They understand that self-growth is not selfish. It is necessary. A confident woman understands that she does not need to be loud to be strong. She does not need to dominate to lead. Her presence speaks before she does. Her energy sets the tone. She does not seek external validation because she has internal approval. She has done the inner work. She has faced her shadows. She has chosen herself again and again, even when it was hard. And perhaps the greatest secret of confident women is this: they forgive themselves for staying too long, for trusting too much, for doubting themselves, for being human. They do not live in regret. They live in growth. Confidence is not something she waits for. It is something she practices daily. In how she speaks to herself, in how she allows others to treat her, in how she responds to challenges. A confident woman knows that life will test her. People will doubt her. Circumstances will shake her. But she also knows this truth: she has survived before, and she will rise again. She is not perfect. She is powerful. She is not fearless. She is brave. She is not unbreakable. She is resilient. And that is the secret. Not confidence without fear, but confidence despite it. A confident woman understands something very early or very late in life. Not everyone will understand her journey, and they don't need to. She releases the need to explain herself to people who are committed to misunderstanding her. She knows explanations drain energy, and her energy is sacred. She does not argue with closed minds. She does not shrink to fit small spaces. She does not beg for seats at tables where respect is missing. She builds her own table, even if she has to sit alone for a while. Confident women are often misunderstood because they are comfortable with their own company. Solitude does not scare them. Silence does not threaten them. In fact, solitude sharpens them. It teaches them who they are without noise, without opinions, without expectations. When a confident woman is alone, she does not feel empty. She feels whole. She has learned that loneliness comes from being disconnected from yourself, not from being alone. And she has already done the work of reconnecting with herself. Slowly, painfully, honestly. A confident woman has felt rejection, but she no longer internalizes it. She understands that rejection is not always a reflection of her worth. Sometimes it is simply redirection. She thanks closed doors because they saved her from rooms that were never meant for her. She does not fear judgment because she understands a powerful truth. People judge from their level of healing. Their opinions reveal more about them than about her. Confidence grows when a woman stops asking, "Am I enough?" and starts asking, "Is this enough for me?" That shift is life-changing. Confident women are selective, not because they are cold, but because they are intentional. They choose relationships carefully. They choose friendships wisely. They choose where they invest their emotions because they know emotional energy is not unlimited. They no longer chase people who are inconsistent. They no longer explain basic respect. They no longer romanticize bare minimum effort. Their standards are not high. They are healthy. A confident woman does not attach her identity to being needed. She does not give to feel worthy. She does not pour into cups that never pour back. She understands that love should not feel like self-abandonment. She chooses reciprocity. Confidence also shows in how she handles criticism. She listens when it is constructive. She discards it when it is destructive. She does not let every opinion become an instruction. She trusts herself enough to filter feedback without losing confidence. She has learned not to personalize everything. Not every silence is rejection. Not every delay is disinterest. Not every mistake is failure. Sometimes things simply take time. A confident woman respects time, her own and others. She does not rush intimacy. She does not force connections. She allows relationships to unfold naturally. If something is meant to grow, it will grow without force. She understands that real confidence is patient. She no longer lives in survival mode. She no longer defines herself by pain. She no longer introduces herself through trauma. Her story is not what happened to her. Her story is how she rose after it. And rising did not happen overnight. She had days when she questioned everything. Nights when tears fell silently. Moments when she wanted to give up. But she didn't. Not because she was strong every day, but because she was committed. Committed to herself. Confident women honor their emotions without letting emotions control them. They feel deeply, but they do not drown. They acknowledge sadness without letting it define their future. They understand emotions are messengers, not masters. They listen to what their emotions are trying to teach them. Confidence shows in how a woman treats herself when no one is watching, in the way she speaks to herself after failure, in the compassion she offers herself when things fall apart. She no longer insults herself for being human. Self-talk becomes self-respect. A confident woman understands that healing is not linear. Some days she feels powerful. Other days she feels vulnerable. Both are allowed. Both are part of growth. She does not shame herself for having bad days. She gives herself permission to rest. Rest is not laziness. Rest is maintenance. She understands that burnout does not equal success. That exhaustion is not a badge of honor. She values balance. She understands that a healthy mind creates a powerful life. A confident woman has stopped waiting for permission. She no longer waits for approval to pursue dreams. She no longer waits for perfect timing to start. She understands that clarity comes through action, not waiting. She moves despite fear. Fear does not disappear when confidence arrives. Confidence simply teaches her not to obey fear. She has learned that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward anyway. Confident women invest in learning. They sharpen their minds. They grow intellectually. They read, reflect, question, and evolve. They understand that ignorance keeps people insecure, but knowledge builds confidence. They are curious, not threatened. Another secret of confident women is adaptability. When plans fail, they pivot. When paths close, they find new ones. They do not collapse at the first sign of resistance. They adjust. Life does not break them. It refines them. She understands that her value is not measured by relationship status, age, or societal milestones. She does not race against anyone's timeline. She lives life on her own terms. She celebrates her achievements quietly. She does not need applause to feel accomplished. Her satisfaction comes from knowing she did her best. Confidence matures when ego fades. A confident woman is comfortable being disliked. She understands that authenticity will offend people who benefit from her silence. She accepts that not everyone will agree with her boundaries, choices, or growth. And she is okay with that. She does not seek revenge when wronged. She seeks wisdom. She learns the lesson and moves forward without bitterness. She refuses to carry resentment because she knows it weighs her down. She chooses peace over pride. A confident woman understands that femininity is not weakness and masculinity is not dominance. She balances softness with strength, compassion with assertiveness, grace with courage. She does not imitate others to feel powerful. She defines power for herself. She no longer compares her behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. She knows social illusions are not reality. She stays grounded in truth. Grounded women are dangerous in the best way. A confident woman knows when to speak and when to walk away. She does not waste her voice where it is not respected. She does not argue with people committed to misunderstanding her. Silence becomes her response when words lose value. She understands that closure does not always come with explanations. Sometimes closure comes with acceptance. She gives herself permission to move on without answers. She trusts that clarity will come in time. A confident woman no longer fears failure. Failure has already taught her resilience. She understands that failure is a teacher, not an enemy. Each failure sharpens her vision and strengthens her resolve. She knows that success built slowly lasts longer. Confidence also shows in generosity. Confident women uplift others without feeling threatened. They mentor, encourage, and support. They do not dim someone else's light to shine brighter. They understand abundance. A confident woman understands her worth without needing to prove it. She does not over-explain. She does not overperform. She does not overcompensate. She simply is. Her presence is enough. She respects her intuition more than external validation. When something feels off, she listens. When something feels aligned, she commits. Intuition becomes her inner authority. She does not live in fear of being replaced because she knows she is not replaceable. Anyone can be copied, but authenticity cannot. She is irreplaceable because she is original. A confident woman knows that love should feel safe, not confusing. Calm, not chaotic. Consistent, not conditional. She does not chase emotional highs that come with emotional damage. She chooses stability. She understands that real confidence is quiet. It does not announce itself. It does not seek attention. It does not demand validation. It simply stands. And even when shaken, it does not collapse. Because confidence is not something she found. It is something she built, brick by brick, lesson by lesson, boundary by boundary, and she is still building. A confident woman understands that life will not always be gentle with her. She has stopped expecting fairness from the world and started creating strength within herself. This shift makes her unshakable. When expectations fall, she does not fall with them. She no longer seeks guarantees. She understands that growth comes with uncertainty, that love comes with risk, that dreams come with failure before success. And still, she chooses to move forward. Because confidence is choosing movement over paralysis. A confident woman does not romanticize struggle, but she respects it. She knows that pain has shaped her vision, sharpened her boundaries, and clarified her priorities. She does not glorify suffering. Yet she honors the woman she became because she survived it. She has stopped asking life to be easier. She has asked herself to be stronger, wiser, and more grounded. Confident women are not controlled by nostalgia. They appreciate memories without living in them. They do not cling to old versions of themselves just because those versions are familiar. They understand that growth requires shedding skin. Letting go is not loss, it is evolution. She releases guilt for choosing herself. She no longer feels selfish for prioritizing her mental health, peace, and dreams. She understands that self-sacrifice without self-respect leads to emptiness. A confident woman knows when to step back. She does not chase chaos. She does not thrive on drama. She does not mistake intensity for connection. Peace has become her new standard, and peace is addictive. She understands that maturity is choosing calm over reaction, reflection over impulsiveness, wisdom over ego. She pauses before responding, not because she lacks words, but because she values impact. Her reactions are intentional. Confident women are deeply present. They observe carefully. They engage meaningfully. They do not live life on autopilot. They experience moments as they come, without rushing through them. Presence gives them power. A confident woman does not overshare to feel connected. She shares selectively. Her vulnerability is sacred, not public. She understands that not everyone deserves access to her inner world. Privacy is power. She has learned that consistency matters more than intensity. That showing up daily builds more confidence than occasional bursts of motivation. She trusts small steps taken consistently over dramatic leaps taken rarely. Progress is quiet. A confident woman has learned to forgive. Not to excuse behavior, but to free herself. She releases resentment because she understands that carrying it poisons her peace. Forgiveness becomes an act of self-love, not approval. She chooses emotional freedom. She no longer revisits conversations that ended. She no longer rewrites scenarios that cannot be changed. She accepts reality as it is, not as she wished it to be. Acceptance brings clarity. A confident woman understands that her journey is unique. She does not measure her progress against others. She knows that growth cannot be rushed, compared, or copied. Her pace is her power. She trusts her timing. She understands that discipline is self-respect in action. That waking up for her goals, even when she feels tired, is an act of belief. That consistency builds identity. She becomes who she shows up as. Confident women do not fear being alone because they have befriended themselves. They enjoy their thoughts. They appreciate their company. They feel safe within their own minds. Self-trust replaces external dependence. A confident woman does not need constant reassurance. She reassures herself. She does not need someone to remind her of her value. She remembers. Confidence is self-anchored. She understands that emotional maturity is rare, and she does not expect it from everyone. She adjusts expectations instead of forcing understanding. This protects her peace. She meets people where they are, not where she hopes they'll be. A confident woman chooses clarity over confusion. If something feels unclear for too long, she steps away. She does not tolerate mixed signals. She understands that clarity is kindness. Confusion is not romantic. She values depth over quantity. One meaningful connection matters more than many shallow ones. One aligned goal matters more than many distractions. Focus sharpens confidence. A confident woman is intentional with her words. She does not gossip. She does not tear others down to feel tall. She understands that speaking poorly of others weakens character. Her words reflect her values. She understands that confidence is not constant happiness. It is emotional stability. It is the ability to remain grounded even when emotions rise. She feels without losing control. A confident woman respects her limits. She does not push herself to exhaustion to prove worth. She rests without guilt. She understands that sustainability matters more than speed. Her longevity is power. She has learned to trust the process, even when progress feels slow. She understands that roots grow deep before anything blooms above ground. Growth happens beneath the surface first. Confident women are patient with themselves. They do not rush healing. They do not force transformation. They allow time to do its work. Time becomes an ally. She understands that confidence is built in the smallest decisions. Choosing honesty over